Hello, welcome back to KL Gamers. Today we are doing a tutorial about how to update BIOS for the ROG STRIX B550-F gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. Okay, why do we need to update the BIOS? When they shipped the motherboard, they came with the very old BIOS. So the very old BIOS did not recognize the newer processors, which is AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. How do we know if we have very old BIOS? So let's check out this picture. On the motherboard itself, there is a code on that we can check what is the exact BIOS version. As you can see, the motherboard BIOS was 0244. So when we assembled our PC with this motherboard, we get an error code from the motherboard, which is a orange LED light from the motherboard, which indicates DRAM error. Not CPU error, not VGA error, not boot, just stuck on the DRAM error code. Every time we boot up, we get a orange LED error light. Okay, this is our problem. And how to solve this problem is because the motherboard BIOS is very old and it cannot recognize the new AMD Ryzen 5 5600X processor. So we have to do a BIOS flashback, which this motherboard capable of BIOS flashback. So what do we need to do now? First we go to Google and we search for the motherboard. Okay, ROG STRIX B550-F gaming Wi-Fi. As you can see, the minimum BIOS to support our AMD Ryzen 5 5600X is 1004. Okay? Anything lower, you cannot support the new processor. As for now, the AMD Ryzen 5 3500 is supported because our BIOS is 0244. Okay, so we need to update the BIOS to support our processor AMD 5600X. So we download the latest BIOS, which is 1801. Okay, it's a beta BIOS. Let's download. Okay, if we are doing a BIOS flashback, we need to rename our BIOS to a specific BIOS file name. Okay, which is we use this BIOS renamer program to, you see, before running the BIOS flashback to, please rename the BIOS file using BIOS renamer. Okay, let's run this BIOS renamer flashback. The file has been renamed to use this USB BIOS flashback. Copy to the root of your USB thumb drive. Okay, press any key to continue. Okay, we already renamed the BIOS file to the specific name they need. So we plug in our USB thumb drive, and it is formatted FAT32. So we just copy the BIOS file to the thumb drive. Okay, we are ready to do a BIOS flashback. Okay, we have the BIOS file in our USB thumb drive, and we are ready to update the BIOS for the ASUS ROG STRIX B550-F gaming motherboard. Okay, what we need to do now is to remove the processor and the RAM. Okay, now that we remove our processor and RAM, we need to plug in our USB thumb drive with the BIOS file and the specific USB slot, which is here. Okay, we have plugged in our USB thumb drive and we connect the power. And we press. Okay, we have power, no processor, no RAM. Okay, now we press the BIOS flashback button for 3 seconds. We press and hold. Okay, now we press and hold the BIOS flashback button for 3 seconds. Okay, we see my USB thumb drive has some LED flashing. Now the BIOS flashback is working. The motherboard is automatically updating the BIOS. And there is a LED light at the bottom that we can check on. We have a green LED light that is flashing, which indicates the motherboard is updating the BIOS. When everything is done, the green LED light will stop automatically. Then we will turn off the power and we will reassemble the processor and RAM, and we have the PC up and running in a minute. Okay, the green LED light stopped flashing and we are done. We are ready to reassemble the processor and RAM. Okay, we have the orange error light again. Wait. Okay, the light is moving. We have a DRAM error code. We have CPU error code. We have VGA. Back to DRAM. Back to CPU. Back to VGA. And we have a green light for boot. Okay, the motherboard is recognizing the new processor, and the motherboard boot up just fine. We can see the BIOS from the monitor. Thanks for watching. Please click like and subscribe if you like this video, and we will see you guys next time.